Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Comic Drill, the only YouTube channel. We've got two dentists sitting around talking about comics. I'm your host, Scott. This is my co-host,
Keith.
And today's episode is going to be about X-Men villains. Kind of like we did on the other video. I'm going to handle the more modern villains, talk about those a little bit, show the first appearances and the issues I have, and then Keith's going to show the older villains and the issues that he has. So Keith, you want to go first?
We'll start first with the simple Magneto, X-Men #1. Obviously, he's kind of like Green Goblin is to Spider-Man, Magneto to X-Men. So, hey, there you go.
And he's shown this issue in a previous video, I think. But X-Men #1, and Magneto's kind of gone back and forth. He's been a good guy in some issues and some eras of X-Men, but he's better as a villain than a hero, I think. So.
Definitely.
All right, so this is a more obscure villain from 1978, the first appearance of the Shadow King, and he has some telepathic abilities, and he can take over your body when he's in the astral plane. It's kind of a convoluted origin, but the Shadow King, first appearance of the Shadow King.
And here's a great one. First Juggernaut. Let's see, X-Men #12, which I believe this issue has a Professor X origin story too, but it's the first Juggernaut.
Yeah,
great villain.
And he was in, I forget which X-Men movie he was in.
Yeah. They all blend together, don't they?
But it was a good rendition of the Juggernaut in the X-Men movie. All right, so this next one is Apocalypse, and there was a movie, X-Men Apocalypse, that some of you guys may know, and a lot of people didn't like it. I kind of enjoyed it. Apocalypse was played by the actor who plays Poe Dameron in the Star Wars movies. I can't think of his name, but
I can't name either.
Anyway, so he has, I guess, his first cameo appearance is in X Factor 5, but then his full appearance was in X Factor 6, and he doesn't really look like that now, but he is supposed to be like the first mutant, and he has like shape-changing abilities, and he's super strong, and another convoluted backstory. If you want to find out more about him, go on Wikipedia. But that was X-Men Apocalypse.
The next is probably my favorite villain, which is the Sentinels, the first appearance of the Sentinels. That whole storyline's been used on and off for years. This X-Men #14, which it's that kind of 1960s kind of goofy cover, but Sentinels over the years have changed, and obviously used a lot in the early 80s and into today. So
yeah, and they were used a lot in the more recent movies, and they're like robots created by the government to hunt mutants down, and but yeah, that's a good one. All right, so this one is X-Men 221, and this is a pretty hot book right now. The first appearance of Mr. Sinister. And there's a lot of speculation now that the X-Men have been brought into the MCU movie universe that he will make an appearance. And his origin's crazy too. He's like a biologist and a geneticist that collects mutant DNA, and he actually is not a mutant, but he used mutant DNA that he mixed with his to give him like abilities, shape-changing abilities, teleportation abilities, but a book that is really, really hot right now. First, Mr. Sinister.
the next is The Brood, which was a great storyline in the, I guess, late 80s, but that was the first appearance of The Brood. They're not on the cover.
155.
155, but it was a long storyline. I believe they've used them again since then. There's a better
So that's The Brood.
cover.
That it's like an alien race.
It's late 80s, so it's like we were saying, it's kind of the movie Aliens was popular in a way. It's kind of an Aliens ripoff, sort of.
They basically take over the person's body. So like they could take over Wolverine, they had more of a trouble taking over Wolverine, but they take over a character and take over their powers. Kind of like the Aliens movies, they'd implant their eggs inside of you and all that. They kind of did that in the X-Men books.
Great storyline. X-Men in the 80s were just the best books, best stories. So I remember reading this as a kid. Good stuff. So.
All right, my next one is from Iron Fist 14 from 1977, the first appearance of Sabretooth. And he is mainly a Wolverine villain, similar powers, has a healing factor, has adamantium claws, was also seen in the X-Men movies. So he's a pretty popular character, but that's the first appearance of Sabretooth. And Keith's out, so I have one more, and I've showed this, I think, on a previous video. I have X-Men number 4, the first appearance of Omega Red, and he was a Russian serial killer who was experimented on by the government and given these tentacles, and kind of becomes an agent of the Russian government. And there's a lot of spec on this character that he's going to appear in the MCU. So over the years, I not only have one, not two, but 4 copies of that issue. So I'm hoping that becomes true, because this book's going to skyrocket if he does appear in the movies.
Yeah, with the X-Men, there's so many first appearances. We could probably pull out 10, 15 more villains if we wanted to. Great title.
Yeah, so another short video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button so you'll know when our next video is coming. And don't forget, brush your teeth, you freaks. Later.
And go to comicswanted.com.
Comicswanted.com. Later.